Doug Pettibone, welcome to the Netherlands.
Thank you.
You're going to play tonight with John Mayer on the Pinkpop stage. It's your second time on the stage. The first one was with Jewel in 2001, I believe. Can you remember that?
No.
Nothing at all?
Yeah, I remember. It was there was a lot of people there. I mean, we were playing. I was out with her for 2 years, and it was lots of travel. And but I do remember it didn't rain, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember much of it.
And now you have a solo album out too. Most people
I do.
maybe don't know that, but
Got a new record out.
tell about it.
The second record. This one is totally electric as opposed to my first one, which was acoustic. And I used, for a background band, I used Lucinda Williams' Love Band, which was the band that she recorded World Without Tears record, Live at the Fillmore.
Which you were on too?
Which I was on, yeah. I was with Lucinda for just about 10 years, and I'm still working with her. I just worked on her latest record a few weeks ago. But so I used those guys on the record, and Lucinda's she made a guest appearance on 2 songs.
Yeah, I have heard it. Yeah.
And my friend Bill Frisell, who's an amazing avant-garde guitarist, he's on the track, and some other great musicians.
It's a great record. It's a lot of variety. Let's call it that way. It's rock and it's pop. It's what did you wanted to do with the record?
I wanted to just actually express musically what I'm into, and it's not just some people think I play with Lucinda, so they think it's just country, but it's Americana, which encompasses rock, country, blues, jazz, and other forms as well. I mean, and that's basically what this record, I think, reflects. There's a lot of different grooves. We have a straight ahead jazz groove on one of them. We have traditional blues, but it's psychedelicized. Yeah. With mini moog and banjo.
A bit of jazz too.
A bit of jazz in there, and some 70s, 60s fuzz rock.
Something special about it. The record you've funded it with crowdfunding.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell something about that?
Yeah, it's called Kickstarter, and it's a great way for up-and-coming artists or people without record deals to fund a record by asking for contributions and offering different packages for different levels of contribution, such as some of the things I offered were I would play on the record on a track. You send me a track, I'll play on your record. For a certain amount of money, I'll give you a FaceTime or Skype guitar lesson, different level, and house concert.
Have you done? You did succeed.
I did succeed.
You have done such house concerts.
Yes, I have, and I still owe someone a house concert, and they're still waiting for the right venue. But they know where I live.
They find you.
They'll find me.
How much money you needed to make this record?
I thought that $15,000 would fund the record and some of the promotion. So I wanted to pay everybody what they were worth. I didn't want to call in any favors, so I just I was able to have the record printed, all the artwork done.
Yeah.
And and I went over my amount. I think I received almost $17,000.
Well, you travel a lot around the world. When do you write songs?
I don't know, and I must be in my sleep. I don't know. No, I wrote them on and off the year, probably a year before, a couple years. They've been slowly coming together, the songs. The actual recording and fundraising and all that stuff took a lot longer than probably writing the songs did.
When did you decide to write your own songs?
I decided to write my own songs. I've tried on and off for years to write songs, and then I'd co-write with different people. And then a few years ago, Lucinda said, that I should start writing songs. And
Okay. She inspired you.
she inspired me, and so I started writing some stuff. And I was working with a guy in Los Angeles. His name's Ned Albright. He's a great songwriter, and he also suggested about the same time that I should start writing songs. And he's a great songwriter. He helped me. We'd have writing sessions like twice a week, and I'd go over to his house and we'd
You
start
knew
writing.
you could write songs, but you were not maybe
Yeah, I
afraid
wasn't-
to let it out? Or?
I was afraid. I took some creative writing classes in high school, and I've always loved writing, but I never really did much of it. I thought I could do it, and then I started writing some stuff, and I guess it was okay.
It's okay. You succeed.
But it was scary. I mean, I think that's the thing that kept me from actually doing it and being the artist instead of the guy behind the scenes.
And the guy who has to sing.
The guy that I'm not afraid to sing.
No, okay.
My voice is. I'm comfortable with my voice. I used to sing. I used to do a lot of restaurant gigs when I was a lot younger, like 7 nights a week.
You started very early with your guitar. I read in your biography you were 5 years when you got your guitar
8.
from your uncle.
I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
I got it from my folks, my parents.
But it was your uncle's guitar or
No.
the $50 guitar?
Oh, that one. I got that one when I was 10.
Huh?
And that was my friend's father's. It was a Les Paul. It was a 1952.
You still have it?
I still have it.
Yeah, I think so.
But I-
$50?
$50.
And now it's worth?
More than 50.
And you collect records. Guitars. How
I
many
do.
you have now?
Probably over, probably 100, I guess. Yeah, and I got some really sweet ones too.
How many you take on tour? Like now with John Mayer?
With John, I take maybe close to 20, maybe 16 to 20.
Yeah? You use them all in one night?
No, I use maybe. Well, there's a lot of them are backups, in case one of them goes down. And I use probably 6 different guitars a night. So then I've got 6 doubles of something that's comparable to those guitars in case one of those breaks. And then I've got lap steels, and I've got mandolins and pedal steels.
Pedal steel. You started late with pedal steel.
I did.
What was the reason you started?
I went in to get a pair of strings at a local guitar store, and my friend said, "Hey, you should buy that pedal steel." And I've always wanted to play pedal steel. And he said, "Sit down. Here's a chord. Here's this chord." And it was only $300. So it was hard to explain to my wife at the time that I went out to get a pair of strings. It's very dangerous to let your husband or boyfriend go to the guitar store to get a set of strings, because he's not going to come back with just a set of strings.
He comes back with the whole shop.
Yeah, with a whole guitar shop. So that's how it started. And I've always loved the steel. And I remember going into a shop when I was probably 13, and there was a pedal steel there, and the shop owner, and I was interested. He said, "You should learn how to play this, because by the time you're 20 years old, you'll be working a lot. You'd be really good." And I still remember that day, because my dad said, "Do you want to start learning how to play it?" I was like, I just want to play guitar right now. And I should have, but it's okay. I mean, it's turned out great where I'm at.
Yeah. You grew up in a musical family?
Not really.
No?
My dad was a special effects man for the motion pictures. He blew up things, set things on fire, and smoke, all that stuff. You know special effects, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked on First War of the Worlds. My grandfather was a special effects man too.
Famous movies he worked on?
Yeah, Ben-Hur,
Oh yeah?
10 Commandments, First War of the Worlds,
Okay.
all the Jerry Lewis movies. He did Goldfinger, he did The Graduate, he did Blazing Saddles, and he worked on Kung Fu, Bonanza, Gunsmoke.
Bonanza?
Yeah, all the Danny Kaye movies, and a lot more. I mean, we'll be sitting watching TV over there, and he'll go, "Oh yeah, I remember that one. You worked on that?"
He took you to the set also? Or
He took me to the set, yeah.
Oh, so that's nice.
And he would say, he'd come home from work. He'd work long hours, but he'd come home and he'd be so tired. He said, worked so hard today. And we'd go in the summertime, we'd get to go to the set on location with him. And he would set up his little chair next to his special effects truck and he'd read and nod off and take a nap. And then it's lunchtime. And, okay, let's go to lunch. And they have everything that you ever wanted to eat catered. And it was the greatest when you were a kid. And we'd get done with lunch and he'd fall asleep again. And then he'd go, Pettibone, we need a campfire over here.
And then he got to work.
Yeah, and then all the Bonanza guys, Little Joe and Haas, and he'd light the campfire. Okay, roll them, or cut. And then he'd go back to sleep. And then on the way home, I go, Dad, I know what you do at work now. You go to sleep.
But you could also be in the movie world then. What decided you to go to the music world?
I went down with him after I graduated high school, and I went to. At that point, he was like assistant head to special effects at Burbank Studios, so he was in charge of hiring and firing people, and who was working on what show. And it would have been really easy for me to slide in, just because it's such a family business. It's what family you're in, and who's going to get you in there. But I went down and hung out, and it just didn't seem like it was my people. I didn't really feel that comfortable, and I knew that I wanted to do music, and he was always so supportive. And so I think my next trip down to the studio, he had arranged for me to sit in on this scoring of a motion picture where they have a full orchestra at the same studios at Burbank Studios. With Bill Conte was the conductor and writer for them. Some big motion picture, I forget what it was. And my dad arranged for me to get down there to get into this session, and I got to talk to Bill about the business and what I needed to do, because what I really wanted to do was to be a session guitarist, kind of in the same vein as what my dad did on the movies and motion pictures, only with guitar,
music. Yeah.
With music. And then at that point, it was right at the end of the era where Dukes of Hazzard, all those television shows from the 70s and 80s where they would hire 4 guitar players to play on each show for the background music. And you'd go in and you'd have the written music, and you'd go in and play, and it was they made a very respectable living.
You have done that?
That's what I wanted to do.
Oh.
And by the time I was able to get to the point where I could start to break into that, all of those television shows changed, where they would just use one guitar player and it would be the composer at home, computers and cheaper, and it just everything
Easier.
changed.
Yeah, digital.
And that's okay, because you never know where you're gonna, how it's gonna turn out. Where I really love where I'm at now, playing live and writing music and my own thing. If I would have done the studio thing, I wouldn't have gone that. I wouldn't have ended up where I'm at now. Having coffee with you out here.
Elvis was an inspiration for you to make music. I read something.
Elvis was a big inspiration. I mean, he was
Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas, but I mean, all the records that I have 2 older brothers. My oldest brother was really into music and 45s. I remember the 45s and the record player. My mom said she kept a baby book for all the boys, and what your favorite toy was.
Yeah.
And mine was the record player, the turntable. And everybody's turned out to be, my oldest brother, he was going to be a pro baseball player, but he hurt his arm, but his thing was the baseball. And next oldest brother, he liked to draw, and he's an artist. So it's amazing what happens.
Creative family.
It's a creative family, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to sit around and draw.
Yeah.
I love to draw. I was okay. I was pretty good. We'd sit around after dinner, and we'd just take crayons, not crayons, but pencils and just draw things. You know, it was
With the whole family then on the table?
the whole family. My mom.
Oh, my mom. Okay.
She would I don't know what she would do, but she was around.
You said the film world is a family world, huh? Is the same?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the same thing in music world?
Not so much.
No.
Not as much.
It's about connections.
It's totally about connections. Yeah.
So you go from Lucinda to Marion Faithful by people who know Lucinda also, and they say you should take Doug Pettibone because he's a good one. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, because he has nice shirts. He's a snappy dresser. Yeah, it's who you know. Like Lucinda, I found out about that gig through a bass player friend of mine that I'd worked with, who I'd met out playing clubs in LA, and he thought I'd be good for it. And then for me to get the audition, I was trying to see who works with Lucinda, and then I would do the research and see who I knew. Also, once again, is who you know.
Yeah.
That might give me a good word, a recommendation. So it is who you know, and it's mainly being about finding where you want to be and getting to know those people. And then once they know you, it's all who knows you and who you know.
But you also have to have the good sound because Lucinda
You have
said,
to have the goods.
Yeah, Lucinda said about 20 minutes. So from he's the guy.
Yeah, even less than that, I'd say. The first 5 minutes.
First 5 minutes.
That she knew, and I knew. But I remember when I was growing up, like I said, my parents were very supportive of what I did, and one of our neighbors was Merle Travis, the guitar player.
Yeah.
And my mom and Merle's wife were really good friends. And we're still friends with their family. But she's since passed away. But my mom would always, talk about me playing guitar because, he played guitar. He was amazing. And she said, she'd say, just tell Doug, always just be prepared for that one call that happens. Just always make sure you're ready to go, So
Merle's said that?
Merle's wife.
Merle's wife.
Just to be ready to go, and that kind of puts the pressure on because when do you know that you're actually ready?
Yeah.
To take care of business, whatever business that is they want you to do. So that kind of I've always thought I need to stay busy as a musician because I saw these older guys that would just do like one thing and then the longevity. Their lifespan as a musician was pretty short. So I thought to myself, how can I keep working and stay busy all the time? Because I don't want to do anything else. And so I just learned, I was interested in country and jazz and rock and folk and all that stuff. And I just did immerse myself as much as I could into to be able to pull off. If I got called for a country gig, if I got called for a jazz gig.
You can also play classical music.
I play classical, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Not as well as I used to, but because that's something you really have to practice.
Guitar teacher was Andy Summers of the Police.
He was.
Small anecdote.
I was in Woodland Hills. Near Topanga, there was a little guitar store called Ernie Ball's Guitar Shop. And he makes strings down guitars. I don't know if you heard of Ernie Ball. But
I read.
Yeah. Anyhow, he was working there as a teacher, and he was studying at Cal State Northridge, which is down the street. And he was my teacher. I was 5, and he was just Mr. Summers with a funny accent. And I don't remember much more than he talked funny and. He sounded like he was from Mary Poppins movie.
Yeah.
Because I was just a kid, and he just taught me how to read notes, notation, something like that.
But you later discovered that he was from the guy from the Police. Huh?
Yes. Yeah, I read that somewhere that he had taught because I loved the Police. They were so important. I mean, during that time before the police, popular music was pretty much crap. It was horrible. And I remember the first time I heard the police, it was mind-blowing how great it was, and fresh. And then I went and got the album, and they looked so cool. They all had bleach blonde hair, and they looked like a band. You know, they didn't look so feminine. They looked like dudes. You know, and yeah, I really loved them a lot. And I saw Andy at a guitar show, at a music show in LA years later, and I just was kind of messing with him. And I went up and I said, "Are you Mr. Summers?" That was with my friend Dusty Wakeman. I said, "Dusty, watch this." I go, "Are you Mr. Summers?" And he says, "Yes." "Did you used to teach guitar on Topanga Canyon, a place called Ernie Ball's in the late 60s, 70s?" He says, "Yes." "Why are you asking me this?" "Because you were my teacher."
What did he say?
He said, "Oh, I think I remember your mom used to take you. Of course, how am I going to get there then? Drive?" So I think he remembered me. And then I said, "So, what have you been doing since then?" And I'd act like I didn't know that he was. I was just messing. I was being a dork. And then we laughed about it. Wes Montgomery.
Oh, that's jazz.
Jazz guy. Steve Howe.
Oh yeah, from Yes.
From Yes.
Oh.
Huge.
You later discovered him then, no?
No. I mean, I was there for like right when the Yes started happening back then. I was so into him. And Steve Hackett from Genesis. And that's what kind of pushed me toward the classical thing.
Nils Klein? Real cool?
Yeah, Nils is great, but I didn't really hear of Nils until just a few years ago. My girlfriend who's now my wife, turned me on to Wilco. And then Nils wasn't in the band at that point. And then,
he came later.
He came later, and I've met Nils since, and he's fantastic.
Cool.
And he has his own voice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is one of the hardest things to do as a musician, is to play for someone to hear you and say, "Wow, that is Nils."
So you have to sing. When
people
you hear,
say that.
Yeah, when you hear the Lucinda Williams, you say, "Oh, that's dark."
Probably because
Yeah.
I only know 3 riffs.
Yeah.
So I play the same 3 riffs, and they go, "Oh, yeah, that's not." Very easily to recognize my style.
But you were also fan for, where I was fan of, Rory Gallagher.
Rory Gallagher, big time, yeah.
You learned his record note by note.
Note by note, yeah.
Which record was that?
It was the one with Messing with the Kid.
Oh, Live in Europe.
Yeah. I got grounded one day. My parents grounded me in the sent to your room. No TV, but I still had my record player, my guitar. So when you're a kid, there's so many distractions too. So I was able to really focus in on slowing down the record. That's what we did at half speed, and you could hear everything they did, but you could figure it out because it's half the speed. And then you memorize the parts.
Is it easier now to learn to play guitar because of all the internet movies you can?
Yeah, I think the accessibility to what you can learn is a lot easier. And for private guitar lessons, you only take home maybe 5% of what you learn, because you can't possibly remember everything that the teacher tells you as instructing you with for an hour. But with a video, or you can rewind, but then you run into, then you're going to sound exactly like that person, which to develop your own style, I think it's important that you only take maybe 5% home with you, and that becomes what you part of what your whole is later, what you remember of that lesson, just that little piece of it. Yeah. And then you go have another lesson, you remember 5% of that, rather than just, you don't really want to, at first you want to sound exactly like that person but you want people to call you for a job because they want
to hear you.
They want to hear you, not to hear, they don't want to hear Eric Clapton. They'll call or a clap. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But it's very important to, you can really get inside. It's almost like you're body snatching to a point when you learn every nuance, every little nuance that they're playing, you actually are becoming them, and it feels like you're someone else when you're playing, when you know the solo that close. It's like, wow, I feel like that person.
Is there one day you don't play the guitar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played guitar for maybe 3 weeks.
Huh?
Yeah, we were off for
holiday.
Well, I had a couple shows I used to play every day, all day long.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff to do at home. That
when you're home.
When I'm home, but as soon as I get out here, it's like, where's the guitar? I want to.
Which one?
Yeah, which guitar? Any guitar. I was looking for one today, but we don't have them here. But yeah, I would love to play every day if I could. Tonight, no sound check because it's a festival. We call it throw and go.
Throw and go, is it?
Throw and go. They throw the stuff up there and you go.
Oh.
Our stagehands put up all the gear and they tune it up, and there's no sound check. They just go testing. Okay, it works.
Okay, and you have the set list. When will that be ready?
Hopefully before the show.
Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah, we usually know half hour before the show. And we know the songs well enough that you can go over them. We have guitars backstage, headphones, and you can, you have your set list on your computer, and you can listen to the songs and play along with them. Okay, got it. But as far as some days, if it's just us going out, if it's just the John Mayer show and we're headlining at a theater or a shed or whatever, we'll go out and sound check for 2 hours, learn new songs, play. Let's try this. But for festivals, it's just there's so many artists. It's not possible to do that. You just go in and hopefully I'll remember how to play after 3 weeks.
I think so. You see something of the city like Maastricht?
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, we got here yesterday, and to fight the jet lag, you have to stay awake. At that point, because your body wants to shut down.
Yeah.
So went to lunch, and then right away you want to go to sleep, but no, had to drink a bunch of coffee, and then walked across the bridge here.
Yeah, that's nice there.
And it's beautiful. Went through the parks, and then just started walking through the cobblestone streets through the university.
It's great, a great city.
Yeah, it's a great city. And then we went and saw there was a Rolling Stones big band concert last night.
Okay.
For a few of the guys from the Rolling Stones, the saxophonist.
They played here?
Yeah. Saxophonist and the background singer, Bernard Fowler.
Ah, nobody knew it.
And it was fantastic. It was a private event. I was at the bridge school with Neil Young's bridge school in San Francisco. He puts on a concert for every year.
Yeah, I know that.
And out back, he would bring the artists that were playing into his Lincoln Continental, and because he had the system in there. Hey, I want you to hear this. And it was amazing.
Is it
the
better?
sound quality, totally. It's so much better, yeah. And you really hear the degradation of sound that you hear in your car. I've got satellite radio in my car. I've got a great system in my Prius, JBL system. But a lot of the times, man, it sounds so thin, and
then you get everything.
You get everything. But then I was driving my friend's pickup that had a cassette. Put the cassette in, and because it's tape, it sounded amazing compared to what we've been listening to with MP3s, and it makes a difference. So the Pono sounds even better than the tape. But I was amazed how great. If you have a cassette player, go home and stick a cassette in, because
I have one.
It's amazing the depth of sound of the drums and just the whole track.
You just threw it all away.
Yeah, smooth.
It was not MP3 is so easy to use, but
so easy and disposable and cheap.
Yeah, like Spotify on your computer.
Yeah.
So, but the quality is people forgot to invest in quality.
Yeah, well, no, Neil's bringing it back. And-
Hopefully he succeeds.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I really do, because I think everyone's missing out, especially the younger generation, on the sound.
What are you going to do when you're ready with John Mayer? Now you got offers, a lot of offers. You have to choose now. Oh.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get into special effects at studios. No, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do some work with Lucinda.
Yeah, for a new album, huh?
Yeah, she just finished it.
I'm curious, is it good?
It's really good.
Yeah, okay.
It's I think it's the closest thing to sounding like Car Wheels. Greg Leese was in there producing it, and he's a steel guitarist extraordinaire. Super guy. He was at the helm. Him and Tom were producing it.
Okay.
And it sounds amazing.
When is it
It's
released?
in great shape. Huh?
When is it released?
Not sure.
Not it.
I haven't heard. I don't even know if it's mixed yet, but it's that fresh. But hopefully soon. But I'll probably do some of that, Lucinda, and then doing home recording. I'm building a studio in my house right now, so I could do internet recording, overdubs, and I'll do some of my own shows, and we'll see. It's unknown at this point.
Yeah.
That's why it's so exciting to be in this business, because you don't know if you're going to be working the next week.
Is there someone you would love to work with? Who's on your list?
Yeah, the Stones. Seriously, I would love to. Neil Keith is amazing. I got the chance to work with him.
Oh yeah.
We did the Graham Parsons tribute,
Yeah.
and he came and we did Wild Horses and a few other songs. I was in the house band.
You feel comfortable with such a guy, so famous guy? Is that?
Well, he makes you comfortable,
That's good.
and I think, I would have to say yes, because there's no ego. They're not trying to prove anything. You know, they've already proved it. And the further up the ladder you get, the nicer people are, the less egos.
Is that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And everybody's easy to work with, and yeah, it's very refreshing. And Keith is, I'd have to say, one of the coolest guys I've ever met as far as a musician, because he's cool 24/7, all day long. There's never any uncool ego star things. It's just he sit down and
He is what he is.
He'll listen to like old blues and be excited about hearing new songs, and he's still, probably, I didn't know him when he's younger, but I would imagine he still has the fire of a teenager for music. And he was a gentleman and super cool.
Okay. Like Neil Young also? Yeah.
Neil's great. Yeah, I was able to have dinner with him when we opened up for Neil, the Greendale tour with Lucinda.
So the bigger they are, the nicer to work with.
I think so.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Doug, I want to thank you for the interview.
Thank
Have a
you.
great show tonight.
Thanks.
Play the roof off, of how do you say it?
Well, hopefully play the storm away.
Yeah.
I don't want to get electrocuted.
Hopefully it's not a storm.
Yeah, well, the wind stopped, which is
Yeah.
nice. Maybe it's blowing the other way.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.